Welcome back to another video in this series of beginning a yoga practice. My name is Emma of M Yoga, and we're going to continue today with looking at standing postures. So during the past videos, we've started on the back. We've gradually moved to all fours, postures such as cat-cow, downward facing dog, low lunge. Then we brought it up to standing. We looked at standing posture, warrior two, and forward folds. And we've also put them into a little sequence. So we're going to continue today with standing postures. You don't have to have a yoga mat, but if you've got one, use it. And just make sure if you don't have a yoga mat that the floor isn't slippy and you've got a firm grip on where you're standing. So something like a wooden floor is helpful, more helpful than say being on a carpet if you don't have a yoga mat with you today. So we looked at warrior two in the previous video. We're going to revisit that pose, and then we're also going to look at triangle pose and a pose called side angle. So as always, please make sure you feel well enough and okay to do this video today. And if you're not sure, you could always watch the content and then come back to this when you feel ready. So let's revisit warrior two first of all. If you're doing your practice every day, you might alternate which leg you step back with. I tend to, as I said previously, start with the right, but that's just so I can remember which side that I've done. I'm going to start with the right now so that I'm also this side on so you can see the shape. So warrior two, let's do this together. Stepping the right foot back, and as that little refresher, I normally step back not too far, and then as long as I'm not in a flow, I'll scoot that foot forward so we can begin to create stability with this base. If you feel a little kind of wobbly through the feet, sometimes I take the left foot or the front foot over a little so I've got a wider stance. And then bending into that front knee. And we might feel a little stretch into the calf and the Achilles down there, maybe in the back of the leg. And then we lift the arms up. So the foot parallel to the back of the mat or turned in a little, bending into that front knee and lifting up through the arms. So a little refresher on warrior two. So let's take 3 breaths and we're going to bring the movement in again with this. So straightening the front leg, reaching the arms up, and then exhaling, and you can glance over the fingertips. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale, reaching up. Doesn't matter how high the arms lift, just within your range of movement. Exhale down. One more here. I'm bringing in the breath with the movement. You don't have to, you can breathe as you wish to. I just quite like the rhythm. Reaching the fingertips forward, reaching the fingertips back. Remember the crown of the head tall and maybe a little bit more in towards that knee. Good. Release the arms down, straightening the leg. You can either step to the top of the mat and then step the left foot back, or turn on that heel, turn the other foot out and set up on the second side. So if you took that foot a little wider on the first round, maybe try that there. Stepping that foot out and the back foot kind of again parallel to the back of the mat. And you want to think of the hips dropping towards the floor a little. So going down towards the floor to drive that knee forward and then taking the arms up. And sometimes you can just take a moment or two to settle in, maybe a few breaths, and then come out of the posture and come back into it for maybe 5 more breaths. You're just kind of trying it on for size. Let's move again a little here. So straightening through that front leg, and you might keep a little bend in it, and then exhaling down. 2 more times. Breathing in and out, looking over that arm. And last time here. Good. Pause for a moment there, and then release the arms down, straightening through that leg. You can just turn the toes in and then step or wiggle the feet together. So that's a refresher on Warrior Two. I enjoy that posture because I find it strengthens the legs. It gives quite a good stretch in towards the legs as well. I'm also a runner, so I find that shape can help with the back of the legs. Also brings us quite present. It's quite grounding as well. So we're going to look at a shape, standing again, called triangle pose. Now for this one, you can also use a yoga prop if you wish. So I'm just going to grab my block. Remember from the intro talk, you can use a foam block. These are available very easily online, or you can use maybe a stack of books, but something that's firm. If you don't have a yoga prop, don't worry at all. You don't need it. It's just helpful sometimes. So just like we did with Warrior Two, let's step the right foot back. Now again, I've not stepped back very far at all. You might step a little wider. We'll gradually find what base works for us. Just like Warrior Two, we're going to lift the arms up, but the legs are currently straight. I'm just going to go a little bit further forward with that foot. Okay, that feels a little bit better for me. And then we want to take the front arm forward as if you were trying to reach a button out in front of you on the wall, maybe like a doorbell, that you're trying to reach it from this point. When we reach out, bring the back hand on towards the hip. So we're just taking that arm out of the posture for the moment. So reaching the fingertips forward, and you might feel that crease of the hip draw under. So we reach the fingertips forward and then bring that hand on towards, maybe on towards the leg, or you can bring the fingertips onto the yoga block. Try not to kind of press too much or kind of hang too much onto the block. If you're using the block, press the fingers into it to lift up through the underneath side of the body. And then take your mind back to the mountain posture, that long side body. That's what we want to try and think of here. So think of the underneath arm drawing away from the hips. And then keep that hand on the hip and turn a little towards the side. So you're looking towards the side. And then you can stay looking towards the side, or you can look up. For now, I'm just going to stay looking towards the side. I'm going to bring the hand a little firmer onto that block. Now the hand that's on the hip, think of that as an extension of the posture. So you might try lifting it up in towards the air. But if you find it's compressing the shoulder, bring it back on towards the hip. So you can kind of just test out how the pose is feeling. The arm might stretch up, but then you might want to bring it back towards the hip. Let's look towards the floor, press to that front foot, come all the way back up. Good. Take the block with you, and you can either just switch it to the other side of the top of the mat, or I'm just going to take this posture facing the back of the mat. So pop in the block there, and then I step the opposite leg back. So once I've got the base, the back foot turned in, so that way that hip can roll in a little. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit more, and then lifting up through the arms. Now, with that front leg, you'll often hear straighten the front leg. Mine don't straighten that easily. So I've got a little bend there at the beginning of the posture. Sometimes I can bring that leg much more straight. In order to do that, I want to engage through the muscles here. So it's almost like you're squeezing the muscles, quads, a little bit in to create stability to that leg. So we're not pressing into the back of the knee. So we create our base and take the arms up. And remember, like we did at the beginning, if you want to, you can bring the hands towards the ribs and kind of just wriggle the ribs up. So we want to try and maintain the same length on each side of the body. So we're not collapsing to end game in the pose. So we've got the arms lifted. And then you might focus on that imaginary point. We're reaching the arms out. Keep that lift through the feet. So what does that even mean? Like you're trying to lift the feet up and away from the floor, so length through the body. And then hand can come on towards the leg, other hand on towards the hip, or, harder on this side, or bring the hand towards the yoga block. I'm going to turn a little bit more towards you. So once you've got the hand on towards the block, it might be fingertips first of all. And then again, the underneath side of the body, try not to shorten that. Think of the armpit almost drawing away from the pelvis, from the hip bone. Press down through the heel and think of lifting, like you're trying to lift the thigh bone up in towards the pelvis. And then glance, you can keep glancing to the floor. You can look towards the side and you'll feel the ribs turn a little. Hand stays on towards the hip, and then does the arm want to lift? Try it for a moment as if you're bringing the fingertips out and then maybe up towards the sky, and then bring the arm back down. Maybe take that a couple more times so you can just begin to feel, do I want to lift the arm? If it creates this real shortening in the neck, then keep the hand onto the hip. Good. One more here. If you're working that movement of the arm, sometimes it's nice to glance up. But again, how does it feel? Press down through the foot, come all the way up. Bring those feet to face the edge of the mat or top of the mat. And then again, you can step them together or just toe, heel those feet back in. And after standing postures, I find that I like to give the legs a little bit of a shake there. You can always give them a little rub if the muscles are aching. Okay, let's move to the third shape, side angle. Now, many variations on this one. You can have the hand on the leg, you can have the hand on the block, or you can have the hand on the floor. Today, we're going to just work with the first couple. So, again, as if we were stepping back into warrior two, we take the right foot back. The reason I'm teaching all these poses, I'm going to go a little bit longer. I'm teaching all these poses together is that what you might begin to notice is, if I just do the pose quickly, warrior two, triangle, and then side angle. The legs and pelvis aren't really moving that much. They're staying in relatively the same format, which means that these poses can be sequenced together quite nicely. So side angle, same, we step back in that kind of warrior two stance and bend that front knee. Now, instead of lifting the arms up like we would do in warrior two, for now, bring the front hand, so for me it's the left hand, left leg is forward, on towards the leg. The other hand, like in triangle, just on towards the hip. And then I'm going to slide the hand down towards the knee and I'm leaning the body forward. This might be enough for you today. You might find that as you're in it, you think, oh, I can scoot the feet back a little more. Otherwise, the arm, I'm kind of bringing it at an angle, is going to touch on towards that thigh. Now, I like to sometimes rest here and try not to do that. Press down through the arm, engage and use these muscles at the side of the body to shorten the upper side of the body and lengthen the underneath side. Hand on towards that hip, or like we did in triangle, we can take the arm out, maybe up, and then maybe turn the little finger in, maybe over the head. Let's bring that arm in front of the face if you took that option and come back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Turn or move to the second side. So I'm going to turn that foot in and turn the other foot out. I've got the block here now, so if I wish to, I could bring my hands to the block in side angle, but let's see how we go. So let's just try warrior two. So again, we get a feeling of that shape. And then bring the hand on towards the thigh, the other hand on towards the hip. And this back leg is kind of rolling in a little, so we're not pressing into the back or causing any stress there. Now the hand can slide down the leg, and it's almost like we're kind of just leaning a little on towards that leg. We did it on the first side, so let's bring the arm on towards that thigh, and it's a little bit further right, so it makes it harder, I feel. And then the muscles here, side of the body, see if you can almost tighten them a little. Good, the arm reaches out, and just test it. Maybe that's far enough. Or the arm up, and the arm over. Now the block is there, so I'm going to bring my hand on towards the block on the outside of the foot for now, and just go slightly further. You don't have to. Let's bring the arm back in front of the face. Warrior two. Straightening that front leg. Turning the feet forward. Release the arms down, and then toe, heel those feet back in. Well done. Give the legs a little shake. So that's triangle posture, side angle, and warrior two. And again, the reason for bringing those three together in this short video is that the base stays the same. And then the body and the arms are moving, but they're a nice sequence to put together. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You could repeat this again, those three postures together. And then in the next video, we'll add them in with one extra standing posture, tree posture. And then we'll begin to move back towards the floor for some seated shapes. Thank you for joining me today. I hope these postures served you well, have brought strength and energy towards the legs, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.